Good morning, guys. Welcome back. So the month of May has been a little bit exhausting, to say the least. And I was really feeling it this week. And on top of that, I've just been having like a bit of a hard time. So I took to Instagram as usual to see what you guys wanted to see this week, because that's just what I do. And you guys always give me really good ideas. I asked for an easy video idea. And by easy, I meant like easy to film, easy to clean up, easy to edit, won't take too long. And I didn't even say what I meant by easy, but as usual, you guys knew exactly what I meant. And you guys gave me a lot of good ideas, but unfortunately I couldn't do all of them today. So I chose May favorites, and I will keep those other ideas for the future. When I find myself a little bit bogged down and a little bit busy, I will fall on those ideas. And thank you guys so much as usual. So the reason why I chose May favorites to do is because I just needed a happy video to film, to be honest. Something just to put me in a happy place, be happy to edit. I can just feel good about the things that are currently making me happy. I haven't done a general favorites video since my very first video on this channel, which was like my 2021 year-end favorites. I've done like kind of favorites-esque videos since then, but they were always themed like favorite Hoyas or favorite Philodendrons. So essentially this is a general favorites video, and just a little bit of a background on why I chose these plants. I've been a little bit busy with like plant events this past month. Work has been really busy. Things are just kind of normalizing into like a post-COVID structure a little bit quicker. And I feel like I just haven't been able to keep up with plant stuff as much. So I've just been doing the bare minimum with my plants, and I haven't even been able to really like check in on them all the time. I haven't been able to have time to just like sit there and look at my plants, check on new growth. I've just kind of been watering and doing the bare minimum with them. So these were the ones that stood out to me as the ones that just caught my attention the most and just kind of brought a bit of joy to my life on those days when I was just like not feeling it. And yeah, so it's just like these plants I really feel like got me through some moods this week where I just needed a little bit of serotonin. And I'm really grateful for them and for you guys for, you know, just always just being there. So basically these are the plants that sparked a little joy in me this past month when I was feeling a little bit bogged down, when I didn't feel the motivation to keep up with my plants. These are the ones that gave me the incentive, because they just been really good to me this month. And you'll see what I mean when I go through the list. So I have a list of 10 favorites, I believe, to show you today. So let's just get started. I hope the camera's not picking this up. It is so hot today. Okay, so my first favorites is not a plant. It is a plant supply. I would categorize it as plant supplies. It's not really nutrition. And I'm freaking out a little bit because I can't find it. I think this is why I'm so sweaty, because I spent the last 15 minutes like running around the house trying to look for it because I don't know where I put it. And I'm freaking out a little bit because it's quickly become a thing I can't live without. So I'm just gonna be popping a photo here. And I've talked about this a few times, at least twice in the last month. And this is the great white mycorrhizae or mycorrhizal inoculant / microbial inoculant. I started using this, let's see when I started using it. All right, so I started using it in April, like kind of beginning of April. Before that, as most of you will know, I was using this mycorrhizal inoculant. So this is by Myco. So this is just mycorrhizal fungi for your plants. This is mycorrhizal fungi / beneficial bacteria, and some trichoderma, which is essentially still fungi, but it's a mold. So I've been using this for maybe about 1.5 years, and it's been really good to me. I've been seeing really great roots with this, but since using this, I've been noticing just an explosion of growth with my plants. And not only that, but the growth is better and plants are maturing. I'm getting just healthier growth and quicker growth. Plants have woken up that have been dormant or taking a long time to grow. Like the time between leaves has shortened a lot. And I'm thinking a lot about my anthuriums because, as a lot of you will know who grow anthuriums, the time between leaves can be a lot longer compared to like a philodendron, for example, because anthuriums, I think, just store up a lot more energy in between leaves, is my understanding of it. So I've just been seeing such a massive difference since using this that I cannot recommend it enough. If you're located in the US, which I know a lot of you are, you're gonna have a lot easier of a time getting this. You're probably gonna be able to find it cheaper. So the link that I'm gonna leave below is for Canadian shoppers. This is, I think, like, I wish I had the bottle to check how much you get. It's not a lot, but the amount that I've been using is so little. I anticipate it will last me at least a good 9 months or so, because you know you don't have to reapply it. You inoculate a plant and that colony will establish, it will multiply. So you only really need to reintroduce those fungi and bacteria when you repot, or if you change the substrate out, or if you use systemic, or if you had to use fungicide treatments, or I don't know, something that would kill the bacteria and fungi. I wanted to mention that one first because I think that that product is a reason why a lot of the plants I'm going to be mentioning have been so joyful to watch grow. It probably genuinely is one of my favorite things in this list, just period, because of how much joy it's brought me by seeing everything kind of wake up and flourish, and it just feels like so many more of my plants are actually thriving and not just growing. You know what I mean? So love the great white. So a lot of you, when I asked what you guys wanted to see this week, wanted me to talk about anthuriums. A lot of different topics relating to anthuriums, but anthuriums was a common request. So let's start with some Antherium favorites. So this first one I've shown fairly recently. This was shown in my plant success stories video. At the time, the leaf was still forming. And I'll just pop a little video here so you can see what it looked like then. Here's what it looks like now. How beautiful is this? Oh, this is, by the way, this is my Antherium papillilaminum. It's being sold out of Indonesia as Antherium dark phoenix, or Antherium papillilaminum crossed with Dressleri. But as I mentioned before, this one is starting to be identified as just a form of pure pappy. I was genuinely blown away when this leaf formed because I wasn't expecting it to become this beautiful by the time it hardened, but like this venation and the dimension and the lobes are getting a little pointier, and the darkness, and also it is freaking loving pon right now. This plant and pon are sitting in a tree, Kissing. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes another root that's growing horizontally. This is probably my most exciting plant right now. Oh, I just kicked the tripod. This is probably my most exciting plant right now, just because this is everything I hoped for and more when I got this plant. Granted, I do want it to grow bigger, but this is exactly the dimension and everything that I fell in love with when I imported this plant. The leaf before it would have been this one. So it's pretty cute, but it's not as cute as this one. I wish I could just sit here and talk to you about this plant like forever and ever and ever, but I promised myself that this video would be shorter and I would finish editing it tonight. So I'm gonna shut up about it soon, but please just enjoy how insanely gorgeous this leaf is. I am so happy about this. And I think at this point it is 99% fully hardened, and if Jing is to be believed, and we all know she's a scoundrel, but she can grow this plant really nice, and she says as soon as it's in pon and established, it's gonna be growing nonstop. So I'm very happy. I'll be obviously providing more updates when and if this grows a new leaf. Obviously I'll be posting it on Instagram too. So I think it's all downhill from here because this is the best plant on the list. No doubt. Okay, the next Antherium, which one do I want to do? Okay, wait, I will actually only have one more Antherium to show, but it's technically 2 Antheriums. Okay, don't fall. Okay, so here are 4 little seedlings. Well, I mentioned 2 of them before in a plant tour, and 2 of them I've not mentioned before. So I think it's about time to show them on camera. So this one is one of 2 that I've shown before. This is a dark form Ace of Spades crossed with Magnificum. I got it from a Canadian plant seller in Ontario, Northern Plant Room. So I got 2 of these. Let me just put this down real quick. I've just been really excited about growing little Antherium seedlings this year. Not only pollinating and growing my own Antheriums from seed, but also like getting little cool hybrids from people. So these 2, I've recently moved from moss into pon. I've had this for quite a long time. Like, this is smaller than it should be. I noticed that it just wasn't growing as quick as like my Forgetii seedlings were, and this being a hybrid, I was expecting a little bit more vigor. So I moved it to pon, and I'm happy to report that it likes it. Oh, I don't want the glare. There you can see a nice fuzzy green root. And then on this one as well, where is it? Right where this finger is, there's another root. I will say this has probably been in the pond for like 2 to 3 weeks, and it's since pushed out this leaf, which is much bigger than the one before. And again, this had been dormant for like, I don't even know how long. I just kind of stopped paying attention to it because it wasn't growing. And then this one is pushed out this one. So this one is still really tiny and it's going to expand a lot. So that one is really exciting. I think it's going to be another year before they're showing anything cool, but what I'm expecting from these is nice dark foliage. Hopefully it'll gain the Ace of Spades like shape, but with the Magnificum like silver venation is what I'm expecting, with like a nice red sinus, because both Mag and Ace of Spades kind of can exhibit those characteristics. I'm actually, if I can find a photo, I think James at Slug Plants, or James Armstrong here on YouTube, also has this cross, not from the same parents, but he has an Ace of Spades Mag, and it's looking really cute. So excited for those ones. And then the other 2, I got these from Lauren at North Shore Tropicals. I showed these when I did her shop tour, but I didn't mention that I got them from her just because they weren't quite ready yet. I know that people are looking for this hybrid, so I didn't want her to get bombarded. I didn't want her to get bombarded with requests, but I think they might be ready soon-ish, and certainly they're growing very fast. So keep an eye out on her Instagram for when she's gonna sell these, but these are her homegrown Antherium. Wait, the mother is, oh yeah, the mother is Magnificum crossed with Luxurians. I was so happy that she gave me a couple of these. So she gave me 3 seeds actually, but only 2 of them germinated successfully. So I just have these 2, but they're growing pretty fast. I moved them into pon like really quickly. Like as soon as the first leaf went out and I was repotting those ones, I moved these ones to pon. I don't see the same amount of root growth, but then again, these are much younger and they are growing, so I'm not too worried about them. I've got them kind of close to a grow light. They're not in a prop box or anything. They're just kind of under a grow light. My tent has been really warm lately, so I think I'm not too worried that these are gonna die, but I'm very, very excited about these. I'll pop a photo here of what a Mag Lux looks like or can look like, and I'm really, really just super excited. I just love every Luxurians hybrid, especially when it's crossed with something velvety. Our friend Amanda at Bunny, she's always posting photos in her stories of her Lux hybrids, and just, oh, just so beautiful. So I'm very, very happy about these. So yeah, that's my last Antherium favorites, my little seedlings. And also, like I mentioned this before, this is like one of the main reasons why I even own a Luxurians in the first place, is because I really want to hybridize it with something. Like my Forgetii is always flowering, so chances of it being crossed with Forgetii is quite high. And like Forgetii hybrids are just so prevalent, but a Forgetii and luxurians hybrid sounds like mwah. I have one plant that's the only one of this genus. I'll do that one first. So this next plant, I keep kicking the tripod. So this next plant I featured in my top 10 most difficult, well, you can see it. So this next plant I featured in my top 10 most difficult houseplants video. This is my Monsteratai Constellation. I know it's not like a highly difficult plant if you're comparing it to like the Linhanonier, which I also included in that list. But there are people who think ties are super easy, and there are people who think ties are really difficult, and I know that they're really prone to rotting. Luckily for me, I've not lost a tie by rot, but I find them really difficult to grow. So backstory to this one in particular, this one was the top cutting off of a mother plant that I got from Charmaine years ago. It was mature to the point of having fenestrated leaves, but every leaf that I grew from it was juvenile. So after like 2 juvenile leaves on the top and then like 3 fenestrated leaves at the bottom, I thought it looked a little bit ridiculous. So I chopped it up, and then I've been growing juvenile leaves since. And then this was kind of like the most recent leaf when I showed it in my video. But we finally have some fenestration now. It only took like 2 years, but we finally got one. So it's bringing me a lot of joy right now, because honestly, I genuinely love large form monsteras. So it breaks my heart that they don't love me back, but we finally have some maturing a little bit, even just a little bit. I'll take it. I'm really happy about this. I'm gonna try to cover the light here, but it's always been rooted like this. Not always, but it's been rooted like this for like a year or so. I genuinely don't know why it started to grow again, other than maybe it was the great white. So yeah, I don't have a ton to say about this one, but this one was like a very, like, I squealed a little bit when I saw this fenestrated leaf. I had to roll it back just to check what the little taco would look like. And I saw this, and yeah, just brought a little bit of joy to my life, you know? Okay, now let's talk about some Hoyas. So I actually don't think I've ever talked about this Hoya on my channel before. And I only posted it about on my Instagram once, but I didn't, you know, it wasn't a big thing or anything. So this is another Hoya I got from Jing. This is exactly the kind of Hoya she knows I love. It's one of the ancient dumpster Hoyas. This is Hoya SP Germany. I'm trying to remember if I bought this or she gave it to me. Either way, it doesn't matter. I was not expecting such a massive leaf when she gave it to me. It's just veiny and splashy, and it's the size of my hand. I just lost it when she gave it to me. It was an unrooted cutting when I got it. It was in perlite, no, it was in pure pumice. It was a little bit heavy for my liking, so I just mixed in some of my palm mix into it, but there's still a lot of perlite pumice. There's still a lot of pumice in here, and I just kind of did a little water reservoir. It didn't decline one bit, and it appears to be rooted now. You can see, get away glare. You see right here, there's some roots, and it's finally growing a new vine. So yeah, you guys know I love my ancient dumpster Hoyas, and this is one disgusting looking one, just a slab of nasty veins. Not much to say about this until it grows, but since I've never shown this on my channel before, this is one of my recent favorite Hoyas right here. All right, so in my plant success stories video, I showed my Hoya nicholsonier New Guinea Ghost. So here's what it looked like back then. And as I mentioned, it was growing 7 new leaves at the time. Here is what it looks like now. You guys, this is my New Guinea Ghost. Hopes and dreams come true. It's even getting like pinky purple at the top here, the ones that are closest to the grow light. I feel bad showing it because every time I show this plant, Charmaine flips a table, and she only has so many tables, and all her tables are getting broken, and she can't afford a new table. So Charmaine, I'm sorry, I'll get you a new table. But here is my New Guinea Ghost. I am so happy. You might recall that I got this as a single leaf cutting back.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
I wasn't talking to you. Shut up.
I'm not sure I understand.
So if you'll recall, I got this as a single leaf cutting back around Christmas time from Jing. So it was this leaf on an unrooted stem. And then now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more leaves with another 2 coming at the top. I just, this Hoya is so dreamy, it's so minty, it's so angelic, it's so courteous and good etiquette, and I just love this Hoya. It's not the kind of Hoya I usually go for. I usually go for like the ugly pretty ones, but this is just like so full on pretty that I can't deny its prettiness and how easy it's been to grow. Yeah, I don't plan on chopping this anytime soon. I do want to grow it out to be like a really, really big bushy plant. But yeah, it's just been in my pond mix with a little bit of added leca, and it's been happily rooted. And the only thing I will say about it is that it's a little bit thirsty. So this is one of the Hoyas I have to water. One of the Hoyas I have to water every single week because it's right up against the grow light. It's really, really warm and it grows so fast. The water uptake is a lot. So if I underwater this plant and kill it, I will never forgive myself. So I just have to remember not to kill it, right? Okay, so this next Hoya, I've only shown it once on my channel before. This was one that I potted up in my substrates pH video. This was a trade with my friend Carmen. Carmen is an angel, by the way. She's like everything that's good in this world. Someone gathered it up, kind of molded it into a human form, and then like breathed life into it, and that's Carmen. Like she's the kindest, she's a bundle of sunshine. So anyways, we did a little trade back in February, I want to say. I'm not really sure. I traded her a little baby offset of my King of Spades for this Hoya polyneira brogue, so the silvery one. This was the leaf that it came with. Actually, there was another leaf that was yellowing from, I don't know, I think she underwatered it before she cut it. So I'm really glad that it rooted. We actually got quite a few nice roots in here, and it's been growing like really fast. Now that it's established, it's been growing really fast. So this was the first leaf that came off it. The next 2 are here, and it's growing another set. These like little baby polyneira leaves are so cute. This one made me really happy because I was expecting this to be kind of a difficult Hoya, and so far it's been really fuss-free. It's been as fuss-free as that New Guinea Ghost has been. They sit next to each other in my Millsville cabinet, like really close to the grow light, in the same container, same substrate, and they both seem to really like it there. And yeah, this is just also just not really my type of Hoya, but like just very, very like pretty, you know, like, and it's just so silvery. I don't know why they're so wavy and not like laying flat. So if anyone knows why that might be, let me know. I don't know if it's nutrient deficient or whatever. I will say, okay, so everything, by the way, everything that I'm showing you has been inoculated with Great White. I've done all my plants. All my plants got it. And these ones are getting my fertilizer cocktail every time I water it. And it also has the slow release in the pond. So I'm not really sure about the wavy stuff, but maybe that's just how it is. Maybe that's normal. I don't know. But anyway, I love this plant. So pleasantly surprised at how quickly it's growing for me. And yeah, thank you, Carmen, for this plant. I really, really love it. And I think the prices of these have dropped quite a bit since last year. So if you're able to get your hands on this one, just based on my experience, not that fussy. Who is next? Okay, we have 3 more plants left. Power through, power through. This next one, I was trying to decide between this one and my Dean McDowell. Why don't I show you both? All right, so I haven't shown my Dean McDowell in a while. This one, okay, this one is like, think about this as like an honorable mention because it's always in my favorites. I do nothing for it. It's in the world's tiniest pot. And yet it's so happy. So it's recently put out a new leaf. Where is it? Oh my goodness. Here it is right here. So it's a little bit bigger maybe than the one before it, but not by a lot. But here's, I'm gonna back up so you can see the whole plant. There we go. So there's like, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 leaves on it now. I'll just show you all of them. I already know why it's not sizing up. It's because like it's in the world's tiniest little cup, and basically like none of the stem has any roots because it's just hanging in midair. So I do need to get it into one of those like rectangular pots, get these rooting. And I don't, oh, if I hit the mic just then, I'm sorry. Yeah, so once that happens, then it can root from all this stem and support like larger growth. But for now, I'm just like really happy with how it looks. So this is the size of the new leaf next to my head. It's not bad, not bad. Yeah, so here's an honorable mention because I love this plant so much. But what else is new? I always love this plant. Oh, so this is the one I was actually going to show. This one's actually part of the list because it sized up quite a bit. This is my Philodendron angry-tense. I've shown it before. This is an easygoing philodendron. It's never lived a day in a greenhouse since it was imported to me, even as a fresh import. I didn't know how to bin plants back then, so I didn't bin it. I just stuck it in water. And it's just been non-stop growing. And this new leaf, I don't know why it looks smaller on camera. How do I make it look bigger? It's big. It's still hardening. And it's so round and so puffy, and it's just so easygoing. It's been living in the same pot for like 2 years now, or 1.5 years or something. And it just, all it wants is a bit of water every now and then. And it's just so wonderful. So just comparing it to the size of the leaves about 1 year ago. So that would have been like this. And now we're like here. Yeah, so every time a new leaf comes out on this plant, it brings me a lot of joy because of like the color changing, with starting from the pink and then down to the peach and then it hardens to the green, and it stays like upright, like facing forward like this for a little bit, and then it'll eventually start to face the light from above. So this moment right here is my favorite moment with this plant, when like the newest big shiny leaf is facing forward. And I walk into my living room and I can just see it just smiling at me. So this one has been bringing me a lot of joy this month as well. I don't think I'll ever cut this plant. I just don't see the need to. Like, this one does take a little bit of time to get established and growing. It takes a while to fill out its pot, and then it starts to grow, but it can be quite dormant until it feels like nice and snug in the pot. So I don't really want to stall it by cutting it. So this is going to be one of those ones that just keeps growing and growing and growing. Luckily, it lives outside of a greenhouse, so it has plenty of space to keep getting bigger. Yeah, I love this plant so much. It's hot. Last philodendron. I don't remember if I've talked about this plant before on my channel. I think I must have. I might have talked about it in my Philodendron favorites video. So this is my Philodendron tortum. I'm gonna show you what it looked like before. It hasn't been super happy with me. This used to live in my Millsville cabinet, and I think I just underwatered it a lot. And so every leaf came out the same size, and it was not growing really fast. And then I moved it into my tent, and it started to grow a little bit faster, but it put out a leaf again at the same size. And then it got the great white. And then look at this new one, and just honestly look at the petiole in comparison to the one before it, which is this one right here. Oh my goodness, how am I going to show you? So this is the leaf before it right here, right? And then look at the petiole size on this one and the leaf size difference. This is all petiole. It's not like it's reaching for the light or anything, because the internodes are still really stacked. If you can see, it's a little bit unstable in this pot, so I don't want to fling it around too much, but these nodes are still really closely stacked to each other. It's just this leaf decided to be massive in comparison. So is finally decided to be happy in my tent. Honestly, it's two things with this plant. It's the warmth of the tent compared to my Millsbow and the great white. I'm convinced. I haven't repotted it. I haven't watered it more. In fact, it does dry out between waterings, not by choice, it's just by my neglect. So it doesn't get a lot of light either. It's kind of tucked into like a corner of my tent. Look at that. Ooh, maybe that's a thumbnail. This is one of those philodendrons that I will love forever. I've always loved it. It's just so spindly and cool, and it's this, I think it's the same reasons I love those like veiny gross Hoyas. It's just a little bit disturbing and yet so beautiful at the same time. And I just love the texture of them and how the leaves are just like, they're not spiky like palms are. They're really, really soft, and yet these like, this midrib is almost triangular in dimension, and they have sometimes little shapes like this at the end. You guys might know from my wish list video, I'm still looking for a Philodendron polypodioides, but it's just not a plant I can afford right now. So I'm just as happy to keep this plant. So that's my Philodendron tortum, looking so much happier these days. Honestly, I didn't even notice this plant because it's in that like hardly visited corner of my tent. And then I knew there was a leaf coming out and it was still really small. And then I didn't notice it when it had unfurled and it had expanded for a couple weeks. And then I looked at it and I gasped. I gasped so hard. I was like, why are you so big? This petiole just like really like freaked me out by how big it is. Just so happy with this guy. Finally, I have a tortum that is happy and growing quicker. So yeah, there we go. All right, last plant, certainly not the least, is a plant I've talked about so much on this channel. I just can't help it. It's almost like I can't do a favorites video without this plant. So this is my Alocasia Frydek. So the last time I showed this plant, this leaf was hardening and it was so gorgeous and a good size up from the one before it, which is this one right here. So it's like a good amount bigger. And then immediately after, before this one is even hardened, it pushed out this one and it's a freaking monster. And it's so white and so much bigger than the one before it. So let's just pull you down so you can see that size difference. It's really hard to show this plant because there's just so much white on it. There we go. So this is the one before it. This is the newest leaf. It is still super floppy. If I just lift this leaf up here, you can see how floppy it still is. So it's still gonna expand a little bit. I don't know, like this is just one of those plants that I'm constantly checking for new growth, because when a new leaf comes out, it just makes me happy to no end. Makes me happy to no end. I just can't believe that this was a gift from Jing, and I feel so lucky to be able to be growing this plant. It's so just rewarding to grow. It's got such great genetics, and I feel bad even having this plant because like I don't feel like I deserve it, and yet here it is in my possession, and it's just so good to me. And it's just one of those plants where I can just sit here and look at it when I'm having a bad day, and it makes me so much happier just by it being so reliably beautiful and easygoing, and it just wants for nothing except for water. Even when it dries out, it perks right back up, and every leaf is just like, I think that it can't get more beautiful, and it just does. It just freaking does it all the time. So let me try to show it to you so the white doesn't get blown out. So yeah, like I've had this plant since December. It was a little sprouting corm in December, and look, and I just can't believe how much bigger it's gotten since then. And it just lives in my exo under some, I don't want to say pretty bright light. And it's almost time to repot it again, because you can see up top here, roots are starting to poke out above the substrate. So anyway, I had to include this plant even though I talk about him all the freaking time. How can I not? It's just so wonderful. It's the best Alocasia in my collection by far. I love this plant so much. And so yeah, that's my last plant. So that wraps up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for the suggestions for videos in the future. I know in the grand scheme of things, if I don't post, it's not a big deal. not even the grand scheme of things, in the regular scheme of things. If I don't post a video, it's not a big deal. But to me, I feel like YouTube is just a part of my life this year that I enjoy doing it. It makes me feel productive outside of work. It's a totally change of pace and a total change of, it's just a total gear change for me from my like day-to-day life. And I think it provides me like just a different avenue for my creative energy. I wish I had more time in my day-to-day life to like make better videos and just spend more time on my videos, but for now this is what I can do. And I appreciate you guys so much for just even watching what I'm creating right now, and that you guys are so supportive. And you know, even those of you who just told me to get some rest rather than making a video, I appreciate you so much too, and you know who you are. But anyway, that is it for this week. I have a few video ideas, kind of like ones that I really want to make soon. They're just a little bit more, they're just gonna take a little bit more research and like putting my thoughts together. They're gonna need like a proper outline, because there are things I definitely want to talk about on my channel. So if you have any other of these like really easy video ideas, feel free to leave it in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. It really means a lot to me. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.